Good afternoon, everyone. I am Noel Collins, Client Success Manager at BeFree. Welcome to today's webinar, NDIS Accounting Demystified, Overcoming Challenges and Finding Solutions. Now, as we all know, the world of NDIS accounting can be complex, and so are the challenges that providers are facing. Our goal today is to break down this complexity, provide you with a practical, actionable solution that can streamline your financial process, improve your compliance, and help you focus on what matters the most, that is providing quality to service participants. Now, before I dive further, let me introduce you to my co-host, guest speaker as well, Neha Chaudhary. Neha is the CFO at Able Foods, and she brings over 15 years of experience working with ASX 300 companies, private equity firms, and DS providers. Neha will share her valuable insights with her knowledge and hands-on experience in NDIS space. Thanks, Neha, for joining.
Thanks, Noel.
Just a reminder that you can claim CPD hours for this webinar. You can raise your questions during the Q&A session at the end of webinar. Now, let me quickly walk you through today's agenda. We will begin by outlining the key challenges faced in the NDS accounting. Then we will dive in the proven strategies that can help you navigate these challenges more effectively. We will also share some tips and tricks that you can apply today to make a significant difference in your accounting. Now, why this webinar? Even Neha was asking me, why do we need this webinar? So there are several reasons, primarily being the growing number of approved plans in the NDIS continue. The NDIA has come up with stringent regulations around spending of budget, outlining how, when, and what funds can be used for. This webinar will help you overcome that particular challenge. We will also explore the ways to manage your high operational cost of running an NDS providing business. Cash flow concerns, which is most common issue in this sector. We will talk about how better to manage your inflows, your outflows, and how to smoothen your financial operations. And finally, we will provide some tips on reducing claim rejections by NDS and plan managers. So let's dive in. So Neha, a lot of our clients earlier had a challenge in funding allocation and tracking budget. What are your thoughts and solution to overcome this particular challenge?
Yeah, sure, Noel. Look, what we have realized is when we're onboarding a client, it is crucial not only to understand the requirements of the participant, but what funding categories are they approved by NDIS. We should ensure the services offered to the client are listed on the plan. This is absolutely important. Otherwise, the claims will get rejected by NDIS. On an average, 20% of the invoices are rejected by NDIS and plan managers due to funding category not matching for the services provided and what's on invoice. So never assume that the core category can be used for services requested by the client. Another thing which is recommended by NDIA is to have a written service agreement. In my personal experience, it's a must-have, a signed service agreement. And if your company does not have one, I strongly recommend go to the NDIS website. It does provide some great ideas where to start. And make sure once you have a signed service agreement, you clearly communicate it with the plan manager, with your participants. Ensure they have a copy of the signed agreement. This ensures that everyone is on the same page on what would be delivered, how it would be delivered. And in case of any disputes, you can always refer back to the signed service agreement. I have personally seen it certainly comes in handy when you have to submit a manual claim, which is tedious. Have a process in place to track budgets as well. This is one of the most important ones. Make sure you don't overutilize the amounts, because you won't be able to claim, and be mindful of the plan end dates, when the client plan starts, when it ends. It's pretty crucial to keep everything in mind along with the budgets as well. Noel, I think you do have a poll question in place for us.
Yes, we have a poll coming up. So let's see how are the current system of our participants able to track these changes correctly.
Oh, That was certainly an issue for us, for sure. Awesome.
Oh, that's a good response. Sure.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Look, we'll discuss about it further down the line because we
Yeah,
do have quite a few slides on now. Um, Noel, I know that BeFree does work for NDIS businesses as well, and you've certainly helped us with some software limitation issues as well. What issues do you see around other clients having software limitations?
sure. Thanks, Neha. A lot of our clients earlier had software limitation as a challenge. When we say software limitation, it can be divided into three sub challenges. First one being the splitting bills and locking the system. A common issue with some software is that its inability to split bills between different categories. For example, if you are in a meal service provider, you might need a separate bill for the cost of raw material and from the delivered or the cooked meal. If your system doesn't support splitting invoices between direct and indirect categories, it can lead to confusion and finally a misreporting. Another major issue is system locking. What I mean by system locking is many software platforms, they don't prevent users from making changes in historical data. For instance, if clinicians might unintentionally modify the appointment duration for the service, this will not only lead to reporting accuracy, but also complications like NDIS audit and claim rejections. Second software limitation or challenge I can say is is the practice management software and reporting accuracy. So now there are many practice management softwares available. Common ones to be ShiftCare, Bravity. So platforms do have to keep in practice management software do have to keep in mind that clinicals and staff members may be unaware of untracked changes that can uh, throw up the entire reporting process for a
Hmm.
toss. Another issue is managing the co-payments and subsidies. So your software should be able to manage or rather invoice the co-payments, which are the payments made by the participants, and the subsidies are those which are being provided by the NDIS. So it should be able to manually process both of these co-payment and subsidiaries. Lastly, the flexibility in software. So every plan manager comes up with a different set of invoicing documentation requirements. Also, there are NDS reporting requirements. So your software should be able to handle both of them. For example, there are many plan managers who have a different invoicing template. They have a different invoicing payment cycle. So your software should be able to manage that. So basically, when it boils down to the end, it's like your software should be compatible to both your internal as well as external requirements of plan managers as well as NDIS. So we have overcome this particular challenge at BeFree for our clients. Moving on to our next challenge, which is the most common challenge faced by the NDS providers, and that's cash flow management. Now, Neha, you being the CFO, you have come up with this challenge and you have overcome this challenge. Can you share some light on that?
Oh, look, absolutely. Look, in recent studies, 72% of not-for-profit providers and 67% of profit providers, said they worry about they won't be able to provide NDIS services at current prices.
That's very
They,
concerning.
exactly, because the payments often are irregular, leading to cash flow gaps. Um, as we know, as NDIS payment is based on delivery dates, which means there's always timing difference of cash coming in, but the expenses going out before that. Um, Plan managers, they might have their own payment cycle and not follow the due dates or deadlines of your company. What worked for us, we clearly have a written service agreement in place. We connect with the plan managers, explain them the deadlines, what we have, and support coordinators usually are pretty good at helping with these due dates as well, in case if there is some disconnect between plan managers and yourself. Then the other one is self-managed. Now, this is even a bigger lag. Usually, what happens is when you send an invoice to client, they have to submit it on the portal, and then they pay you. How did we overcome? We started using direct debit options. So what we did is for our self-managed clients, we offered them Stripe, Easy Pay, Easy Debit, uh, bank deductions based on the dates which works for them and us as well as a company. And now let's not even go on manual claims. I think I've talked about it. I'm sure a lot of providers have the same problem. Manual claims can take anything from 6 weeks to 3 months. So ensure that you have a good DSO in process in place. As a fact, 34% of providers did make a loss in FY23, and only 18% broke even. So what we
That's
did,
so alarming, actually.
absolutely, yeah, it's concerning. But you know what? To overcome this, have a robust, dynamic three-way financial model in place. Regularly update your metrics to ensure you have an accurate forecast. Don't set a budget and forget it. Ensure you keep updating your models. Finally, delays in plan approvals, longer renewal, along with changes in participant funding, is becoming a common theme across NDIS plans. So please do not assume the plan will be renewed at the same amount with the same categories. Ideally, start the conversation 3 months before the plan end date, so there's no gap in between the services you provide and the cash flow which comes in. So that kind of concludes that one. But there's another poll question coming up now, isn't it?
Thanks, Neha. That was very insightful. Let's have a poll to know what's the biggest cash flow challenge our participants are facing currently.
All right.
All right. It seems the higher administrative cost is the one which is of biggest challenge for those.
Absolutely. Look, and that's the one everybody's facing. The costs are high, but the prices are not changing.
Yeah, okay. All right. So Neha, these are the three major challenges we discussed today. Now, can you just let us know what are the proven strategies to overcome these particular challenges?
Oh, look, absolutely. Like three major things which we started and helped at the beginning. First was expertise in NDIS financial management. What do I mean by that? Understand the compliance, what NDIS audit requirements are. Subscribe to the NDIS newsletter. They are very helpful. And they also host a lot of free webinars, which is a great way to, keep updated with what's happening. Staying compliant is not just about keeping your operations in check. It's essentially for maintaining client funding and company cash flow and ensuring you continue to meet all the regulatory standards as well. Embrace automation. I'm sure everybody's heard about it,
Yes.
but automation can significantly reduce your administrative workload and costs as well. And we saw through the polls, that was one of the major issues people
Yes.
have. So look, take advantage of free integrations, leverage technologies like AI, open APIs. You can streamline your operations, improve efficiencies across border. For example, we, in some of the companies, use Zero. We've used API links, which are free to connect to our Salesforce, HubSpot. Our accountants have started using a plugin called Scott's Add-in. All of these items, some of them are free, less than $10. And Scott's Add-in is a live plugin which connects to Excel. And you don't need to download Zero reports, upload them each time. You can have it the way you want to see it. It will save you time. The final one is choosing the right software as well. Look, selecting the right software is a critical part of your strategy. This includes choosing the systems that are tailored to your business needs, because there's so many NDIS services. So you need to make sure what works for your business, whether it's an accounting system, CRM platform, supply demand tool. The right technology can ensure smooth operations. So sometimes you have to step back and think, are the software in place correct for us? What can we do if we don't have enough budget? What links, automations can we use? And don't be afraid of some issues that might come along. According to BCG study, 85% of system changes don't go smoothly. So, one of them,
Yes.
everybody's gone through it.
All right. Thanks, Neha, for those gold standard strategies. Now, Neha, you have worked with so many NDS providers during your career. So can you share us some tips and tricks for our participants, which can be handy with them?
Oh, look, absolutely. Some of them, which we can say is stick to the NDIS price limits, manage client funds carefully, make sure the pricing is based on the product, the services, if it's national or remote region, and the price is aligned to NDIS. Clients should be able to understand what they're paying for, how they're paying for, when are they paying. Update them when they're close to overutilizing it, or if they're underutilizing the funds as well. Plan for internal cost. It's essential to have a clear plan in place to cover your operational cost. Ensure the business stability, even when the cash flow is unpredictable. For example, for us, preparing for seasonality is really important. For example, in December, you still need to pay the employees, but the client might take a break from using your services. Develop a client retention strategy and double check NDIS plan dates. Do regular check ins with the client. Ensure the services meet their expectations. And you have to have a client retention strategy in place. Ensure the exactly ensure the systems can send you reminders 3 months before the plan date end, or have a manual process in place. Use some automation. Um, Ensure accurate documentation, as we've talked about. Sign service agreement, invoices. Make sure everything is there. What as per NDIS is required to get the funding. Always be NDIS audit ready. And I think the final one I would say is the get the right advice for system setup. Talk to your team, different departments, write down what is must have, what's good to have left. If required, it's usually better to pay an expert and consultant to get the right system set up. On long term, it always pays off and saves you costs.
Right. Thank you so much, Neha. That was very helpful. Let's have a quick poll to understand if our participants today have partnered with any external NDS accounting firm. Well, a lot of
Well,
them have not, but they're still considering it. That's a good point.
yeah, I think, yeah, we're over 50% where people want to consider it for sure. Um,
Sure. Now, Neha, we have discussed a lot of things today, a lot of discussion regarding NDS. But can you help us, let us know few things which we should remember by the end of this particular webinar?
Look, absolutely. What it all boils down to is subscribe to the NDIS updates, do daily payment reconciliation so you know what the DSO is, utilize bulk claims for payments, use direct debit channels like we talked about, Stripe, Easy Debit, whatever works for your company. Ensure the invoice accuracy, understand the support categories, make sure you build relationship with your plan managers. Now, you need to think what works best for your company. A right stream team structure is really, really crucial. For example, our costs were operational costs were going pretty high, and NDIS prices weren't changing. So, Noel, as you know, we partnered with BeFree, and it helped us to ensure the high volume data entry work is completed by NDIS compliant companies like you. But what it did for our finance team, it freed up the members, our finance team members, to work on high growth and impact items such as analysis, internal reporting, external reporting, their own educational growth as well. So, yeah, I think that's where I can conclude. So, I do appreciate now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Neha. Thanks, Neha. And as we are aware, managing NDS accounting comes with its unique set of challenges, as we saw in the entire webinar. At BeFree, we specialize in helping NDS providers overcome these exact challenges. At BeFree, we pride ourselves for being the trusted partner of NDS providers and plan managers and our firm has been in the industry for over 18 years and operating as a full registered tax agent. With that level of experience, we understand the unique challenges you face. When it comes to security, it has been our top priority. We are an ISO 27001 certified. In fact, we have partnered with Amazon Web Servers to ensure maximum reliability and security. We also carry an indemnity insurance of 2 million, which has never been claimed in our entire history. With over 20% of our clients being NDS providers and plan managers, we are familiar with NDS guidelines, pricing. Our team is also well versed with industry-specific softwares, you name it, ShiftCare, Gravity, Alexi, making your process seamless. So when you partner with us, you are getting a firm that is not only understands your business, but also committed to keeping your compliance, efficiency, and financially strong. Now, looking at our global profile, we are present in UK, India, Australia, and North America. We are a Zero Platinum partners, member of CPA Australia. We follow GAP and AFRIS standards. Super Record is another business unit which is catering to accounting practices only. Now let's move to the question and answer section. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Me and Neha, we can try to answer them for you.
We do have a question from Laura.
Yes.
Asking about they're using ShiftCare and Employment Hero, and you can't get data on profitability per client or revenue. And look, this is a tricky one, because when we're talking about Employment Hero and ShiftCare, they're two very different softwares working for specific reasons. Now, unfortunately, it also depends on what the budgets are. You have systems like Dynamics 365, which could possibly work, but also what you can do is look at flows. There will be no system which would be a practice management system and a payroll system. Very different things. But again, try to search for APIs, try to search for connectors, which can help you connect these two things in order for you to get the client revenue per team member. That's what we did as well, because we used to use Splows and we used to use ADP for payroll. We used to use another Zero system for finance system. So yeah, that's where the API connections will certainly help you, or good BI tools.
I think we have another question coming up from Davey.
All right.
You can get a data file from ShiftCare to work out gross margin by client. So he has basically answered for Laura how she can help gross margin
great.
using
Awesome.
ShiftCare. Thanks, David. Thanks.
Appreciate it, David. Thank you so much. We do have another question coming up asking about how do you choose an external provider. Oh, look, guys, what we did for us when we had to choose for a outsourced provider, we kind of looked at different things, different scenarios. Are they ISO certified? Do the companies work with NDIS firms? What is their presence in the current Australian market? That all kind of helped us to decide which company we need to go for sure.
Sure. Also, we look at their expertise in NDIS, half data security. These are the few points to consider when you're looking for an external accounting firm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. If there are any other questions, we can take it now, or you can also get in touch with us over the contact details by the end of this webinar. So as we come to the end of this session, I would like to take a moment to thank all for joining us. We hope you found this insight and solutions around NDS accounting valuable. And a big thanks to you, Neha, for sharing your valuable expertise. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Noel. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. See ya.
If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Once again, a quick reminder, you can claim your CPDRs for today's webinar. The recording will be shared with you over the email. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.